Up first, from tournament lobbies to Web3 war rooms, he's the undisputed king and controllers turned clutch consultant, running point for Glittercloud Solutions. He's the tactician you call whenever your launch needs a little more lethal. Whether it's Web3 or Web2 or just Web chaos, he turns marketing plans into map control. From the king of controllers to the concierge of campaigns. It's Dub.
I'm also one of the top Arbitrum yappers. I'm pretty fucking proud of that. I'm second month in. Great to be here. Please like and repost my things, and yeah, let's have a great show.
Every fucking post I see from you has 3 likes, and then somehow you're still top of the. I don't understand who's doing the fucking calculus over there. It's a fucking modern miracle that you've accomplished.
Dude, same. But I'm okay with it. Let it fucking run.
Up next, he's tanked panels, trashed takes, and still walked out glowing. From Golden Fraud to Golden God, his redemption arc has more rewrites than a Netflix reboot. Call it charisma, call it chaos, but don't call it a comeback. It's the radiant renegade Jerry Singer.
I had a great day at the driving range just now, Sam. This is going to be a great panel, and congratulations on that announcement, man. That was really cool to see, Sam. I expect you to now be the one to take us to the promised land. More importantly, I had a great day at the driving range, though.
I'm glad that you enjoyed that, man. Congrats on shedding a few off your game. Technical difficulty, maybe for the first time in gamified history, my computer has decided that it doesn't want to load this web page that I have all the intros stored on. So I'm just going to kill time while I just imagine Jerry shanking one into the woods and deciding to still lie to us about how much.
Yeah, not that many shanks. I got a new 5-iron and was messing with that today. I'm terrible at golf, guys. This was like my 4th time ever going, but I've decided that I'm going to become a single-digit handicap golfer in 365 days time. So I'm going to the golf course a lot, and I haven't gotten that much better yet.
Thank you for killing sufficient time, Jerry. I appreciate you, my ceremonious second co-host. Up next, whether it's breaking down a subnet stack or repping a squat rack, he's the beast mode, business dev and the iron slinging innovator at Avalanche. A keynote presence with his power of a 5-tiered tank. His biceps are bandwidth incarnate, and he's the barbell swing of block building Avalanche ace you've been waiting for. It's big Wills Spangler.
So I'm calling in from the EU today. I'm on the LEMS Euro maxing wave right now, and goddamn, I never knew how long Wednesday could be. It's 11 p.m. and I've had to spend 23 hours waiting for Gamified, but it's here now, and everything is okay.
That's an amazing way to put it. I never knew how long a Wednesday could be. I love that. Thanks for staying up late for us. I appreciate you, brother. Up next, half anime protagonist, half legal executioner. He's the only founder who treats legalese like a skill tree, unlocking new clauses, summoning clean terms, and leveling up after every encounter. A former SEC lawyer turned anime entrepreneur from now building on Andromeda. I can't talk today. A world where games win and lawsuits lose. He's the clause casting counselor, the ace of Andromeda. It's Michael Christine.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Really pumped to be here today. Always a wonderful introduction. I'm excited for today's topic, so let's get it. Let's jump in.
It's going to be a beauty. And up next, he once made a game so addictive it got installed on every office computer in the world and enshrined in the Video Game Hall of Fame with Solitaire. Now he's channeling that power into something far weirder, a blockchain battleground with literary giants and mythical beasts with Project O. It's the Gandalf of game design. It's none other than Kevin Lambert.
Yo, I had to miss last week, unfortunately. My wife and I were doing a little vacation, and I even asked Sam, I'm like, Sam, I could make the first half of the call. That's how much I wanted to be on the show. And he's like, nah, don't worry about it. So glad to be back.
Kevin, did you work on Ori and the Will of the Wisps, or just Ori and the Blind Forest?
A little of both. More on the first one than the second one. But...
Oh, okay. Well, I will not say how great of a game Ori and the Will of the Wisps was.
Love it. It's
nice
awesome.
save, Jerry. Great work. It's awesome. Kevin's experience is always deeper than I already thought I knew. Up next, we're taking millions. We're talking. Jesus Christ. Millions juggled like they're flaming bowling pins. Budgets that would make a dragon sweat gold and a personality that could ignite a supernova. And he's bringing the heat to Wildcard and thousands. But now he's gone rogue, a marketing maverick with no leash, no limits, and a flamethrower for a tongue. He's the first-round draft pick of platform domination, the MVP of media mayhem. It's Big Tony V.
Yo, what's up? Excited to be here. Excited for the topics. Love this crowd.
I like that we ended on an upward inflection so that I could be extra confused. Way to go.
I did that on purpose.
Up next, before most of us were optimizing KPIs, he was optimizing galaxies. He launched Space Empire's Elite in the 90s, turned Game of Thrones Ascent into a Facebook juggernaut, and scaled legendary Game of Heroes into a top-grossing hit. Now with Beamable, he's building the back end so you don't have to. The System Slayer, the Lord Lair, the Launch Liberator. It's BeamableTony Radoff.
Thanks, Sam. I love everything about that intro, other than it makes me sound old somehow with the Space Empire reference. But yes, I did those things. Now I'm hoping to help other people build their games without all the shit that I had to put up with. So thanks for having me here.
Great to have you, Ben. Yeah, I'll leave out the '90s next time. I think that's what did it. Everything else made you sound young and spry.
Just say I did it as a teenager. It sounds cooler.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, there we go. Up next is the man behind your favorite gaming platform. It's the search engine, newswire, strategy guide, and battle pass for all of Web3 gaming scene. Plus, he created the G3 Awards. His brainchild is broadcast Web3 gaming's biggest night. Welcome to the panel, the editor-in-chief of Web3 Gaming and GamesGG. It's OG.
Oh damn! I got a new one. I was like waiting for the sands and Dubai this, Dubai that.
Yeah, fuck that.
I like it. Okay, new year, new intro. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Excited for the panel, guys.
Good to have you back, buddy. It's been too long. Thanks also for staying up. I know it's late over there too. And speaking of staying up late, this man rewired the game, stacking the deck against convention and calling bluffs in billion-dollar boardrooms. From exiting to Alibaba to advising Team Liquid, he found that corporate crowns never fit him. He's a disruptor by design, armed with truth bombs, sharp suits, and zero patience for fools, and he's building My Angry Yakuza Girlfriend, part casino sim, part romantic fever dream, and fully unfiltered. It's the Titan of Taboo. It's Sinjin.
Hey, Sam, thanks for the intro. Great to be here. I haven't had my Red Bull yet, but I'm about to down it. So
Speaking of
let's
Red
get it
Bull,
on,
did
boys.
you guys see they fired Christian Horner from the Formula One team today? That's fucking crazy, man. I wanted to talk about this all day.
Damn.
This is a Formula One podcast now.
What did he do on the team? I'm unfamiliar.
He was the Sam.
God damn it.
He was the team principal for the last 20 years.
What does that even mean? There's principles?
So like when the other team members fought with each other, they had to go talk to him, and they like paddled him. Or...
It kind of. I mean, yeah, kind of.
He was one of the Red Bulls on the can. That's how important he was.
Incredible.
He became an old bull. That's what happens.
Wow, amazing. I'm outraged too, Jerry. We share this feeling as much inside of each other, which is the only time I'll say I'm inside of Jerry.
Pause.
Up
Pause.
next, before he was crafting card economies, he was scaling sandstone and side-eyeing capitalism from 60 feet up. He's bartered beats, bar tabs, and business models. Now he barters with fate itself with a sci-fi TCG that makes Yu-Gi-Oh! Look like Uno. He once played bass in a band and now plays God in a card game. The only real difference is the budget. The rock climbing realist is here to stay, the architect of asymmetry and the prince of parallel. It's Koji.
First of all, I was a guitar player. I also just want to say that I only care about F1 in so much as the movie was fucking awesome. Everyone should go see it.
Guys.
And if you want to know what the team principal does, he just looks at Brad Pitt being like, "I thought I told you to do this thing," and Brad Pitt's like, "No, I play by my own rules."
Dude. His lines were so lame. Who said anything about safety? Guys, we watched a fucking Formula One race together in Singapore. We all watched it together. What's up with you guys?
No, I'm just fucking with you, man. I'm going to Austin for the F1, so
Koji,
I like it too, but
rudely,
the movie is good though.
The team principal was not invited to the suite that Koji invited us to, and if he was there, I would have been able to make this connection.
He was staying we saw one of the drivers at Koji's hotel.
Is that supposed to make me a fan? I don't know. I've seen lots of people walk
Koji,
through
Sam,
stop.
Sam, stop talking. Koji, I'm going to Austin with you.
Yeah, come. That'll be fun. Also, I'm playing golf tomorrow. I'm trying to get my golf game better, but I resent it as a sport because, like, how can an out of shape motherfucker be that much better than me? It makes me angry. It doesn't count as
If
a
it's
sport.
not Lewis Hamilton, we really don't care. I'll put Verstappen in there as well. Let's move on.
This is a fucking. I feel like I'm on TLC doing a podcast about hobbyism right now. Everybody, shut up, okay? Jesus. Up next, it's the masked mage of metagames, the wizard of what's next. We're keeping it simple for Vidar.
Oh, just when I thought I was done, they pulled me back in. Oh, it's yet another day with a face for CCTV, white monkey spots, and a voice for DirecTV commission sales. I'm back. It's 4 in the fucking morning here in China, and Sam's like, hey, my next show is when you're fucking sleeping. So here I am.
I'm no rest until everybody on the panel is in Asia during it, and we just get peak deliriousness.
It's great. I'm also getting over the fucking Malaysian flu, so my voice is extra raspy for this shit.
I look forward to all the takes. I appreciate it. And last but not least, he's the cold-blooded king of commentary, the gecko with the gift of gab, and the only panelist here who could safely hide in your shoe. At 2.4 pounds of pure pundit power, he delivers more punch per pixel than any warm-blooded host alive. It's the typhoon of tiny takes. It's Lems.
What is up, everyone? I think this is this the first time we got like more people outside the U.S. than inside the U.S. on the panel. We've actually flipped it, so good job, everyone. And man, Jerry, after it's more than 2 years now, and you still bring these sports references to the table with a bunch of gaming nerds and expect us to understand, and you're catering to the wrong audience, my friend.
That's on you, bro. That's on you. And speaking of going global, dude, I've been inspired by our next amazing sponsor. Avalanche is more than just a chain. It's where progress snowballs into real rewards. With Season 1 of their incredible Battle Pass, every play earns progress towards legendary NFT drops, AVAX bonuses, etc. No fluff, no filler, just a sleek system built for momentum. This is your Frost-forged ecosystem where tokens fuel the climbs, friends become factions, and innovation elevates every interaction. Shout out to the Kings of the North and the official chain of gamified. Always loving what AVAX is up to. And up next, the Farcade. Just hit the respawn button. Say hello to Remix, the official game of gamified. Drop the coding bootcamp fantasies. Our AI studio lets you whip up a game faster than you can microwave a burrito. Think of us as a love child between AI, internet chaos. You bring the idea, and we bring the tools. Once it's fun to make a game, once it's fun, we make your game available on Warpcast, Telegram, World App, etc., including Coinbase Wallet coming up soon for millions of people to play. Play, build, remix. Shout out to Remix. And dump the castles in the cloud because Game 7's building kingdoms on chain. They're backing builders, leveling up with devs with their credits program, plus bestowing soulbound loot on the loyal with Summon. The Fellowship is forming the final bosses, traditional gaming gatekeepers. Join the fray where your grind gains gravity with Game 7, the official infrastructure of Gamified. And of course, give us 5 stars on podcast platforms. That's all I'm going to say there. What's the word? Splitgate 2 not being able to break 30,000 concurrent players. 30,000. Its predecessor, Splitgate 1, which went super viral in my group chats whenever it first released, reached over 10 million players and at some point 200,000 concurrents within the first few weeks. Eventually 68,000 concurrents just on Steam alone back in 2021. This was across console and PC that they hit 200K. All of this was done without a meaningful budget. Somebody actually said that Splitgate 2 had 100x the budget of Splitgate 1. They raised $130 million in VC funding after the success of Splitgate 1 to expand the game, but soon realized they needed to start with a clean slate, so they completely overhauled everything. They ballooned the team from 30 to 170, and then they launched last month, pivoting the game to like a battle royale instead of the original just team deathmatch. And the game is struggling. Peak concurrent players at 25,000. That's the peak at launch. And the chart looks like a gaming token. It's just down and to the right, struggling to even hit 4,000 concurrent players per day. What is the word? Wills, I'm going to you first, man.
The word for me on this one is going to be messaging, because as a gamer, I feel like a lot of this messaging around Splitgate 2 was aimed at me. I don't like what shooting games are turning into. I think Fortnite sucks and is lame. If you tap that sign, I'm gonna pay attention. And Splitgate 2 leaned very heavily into that. And you know, they had the Make FPS Great Again hat at the Summer Game Awards that was like, and his basically whole spiel was like, it was targeted at all you guys. You know, don't you miss when, you know, shooters were shooters and everything was normal. And then all of my friends boot up Splitgate 2 and it's just Fortnite. It's you know, in gameplay wise, it's got, you know, its own unique spins in that, but you know, the meta experience around the game It's got a battle pass. It's got thousands of microtransactions. The main selling point was a battle royale. It felt like a complete U-turn from what they were trying to sell. I didn't play much of Splitgate 1, and I played a little bit of Splitgate 2, but I really couldn't see how that messaging was actually being reflected in the game. So yeah, I think it was a real kind of scuffed ball on that front. You know, the people who wanted these old shooter games, thinking that they would want another battle royale, and then all the other controversies around it. I think it really just kind of didn't stick the landing on whatever it was trying to accomplish.
That's a fantastic point. Another case of somebody being like, well, MOBAs have a lot of players, right? Let's just go make League of Legends, you know? Tony V, I want to hear from you next, and we'll go to Michael Christine.
Yeah, I think what Will just said was really insightful, and I agree with. I also think that some of it is temporal, right, in nature. Like 2021, everyone was trapped inside and had just like started realizing that we were all trapped inside together, and so the number of people looking for any sort of novel or new form of entertainment to stave off the madness, or not murder the people they were living with for the last year and the future 2 years. I think content and entertainment was just consumed differently and with a much different propensity to stick on things that really weren't sticky. And so I think a lot of the first game's success had to do with that. I think they made a good game. I think Splitgate was a fun game, but I do think a lot of it was like they launched a good game at a time when people were looking to do literally anything other than talk to the people in the house that they lived in.
Quick sidebar: Icy calls everybody on this panel dumbasses for enjoying the F1. No. F1.
When did he become a spicy little bitch, dude? He's been fucking coming at me so much lately.
Let's go over to Michael Christine. Michael, what's the word here for Splitgate 2 having 100x the budget and less than half the players?
I'm going to say disappointing. And the reason I go with disappointing is I loved Splitgate 1 for what it was. Like, yeah, maybe my mic didn't work in Splitgate 1, so I actually had to like FaceTime my friends for us to be able to talk to each other in game chat. But that's what you expect from a beta. They had 3 years to make an awesome game built off a beautiful foundation. What they did was they basically made like 5 maps that are some basically kind of feel like they're the same after you play them like once or twice. It doesn't feel satisfying to kill anybody. It still kind of feels like the actual gameplay is still in beta versus like, you had 3 years to make this game built on your foundation. And it's just, it's a entertaining game, but it's an entertaining game for like a week. And then you're like, oh, I can go play something else. And so I'm very disappointed in Splitgate 2. The founder, CEO, he talked a lot about it, about how it's going to be revolutionary. I personally don't even think it is a Fortnite clone. I wouldn't even put it in the same league of Fortnite in gameplay in terms of it just doesn't have enough content that I want to actually continue playing. All the maps are the same. Like the game modes have like 1 or 2 maps between them, and you were developing this thing for 3 years with almost no changes from the initial version. So I was pretty disappointed with it because I was actually looking forward to Splitgate 2. And to Tony V's point, I think he's absolutely correct in terms of its wild success from the first one, because what is it? YC Combinator says that the determination factors of success 42% of the time it's timing. And so yes, they definitely released the first one at a time where people were tired of Warzone by 2021. They were looking for something new, and this provided that something new. Now in 2025, they didn't provide anything new. They actually provided everything old, and they barely built on top of what they provided in 2021. So disappointment is the only thing I can say here, because I was a fan of this game. I was so excited to play. I played for like 3 days, and then I have not opened the game up since. So disappointed is the only thing I could say here. Good for them on raising all the money, though.
Yeah, well done there. I was just kidding about Icy. He said he's a big F1 fan. The movie was great, but it left something to be desired. He didn't call you guys dumbasses. Don't get too upset. Okay, over to let's tag in Vidar. Vidar back in the hot seat after a couple of months.
Oh boy, Splitgate 2. Oh, what I wish you were and what you fucking aren't. Man, I wanted to play because I played the first game. It was good. I tried it. And then the first thing I did as a whale is, hey, let's go look at the microtransaction shop. That shit was the most overpriced bullshit I've ever seen for live service slop in my life. at launch. And yes, all the review bombing, you know, occurred and then they reverted it. But still, that was absolutely egregious to the player base. This is another problem. You're going into a saturated market. And I think we talked about this, like, I'm having deja vu, Sam. We talked about this like a year ago about people just pumping out these fucking shooter games into a saturated market. And all they have is microtransaction shops with nothing new, no interesting stuff. It's just a battle royale bullshit. If they really want to capture the same user base they had before, get rid of the battle royale, go back to basics, go back to what made the first game interesting and fun and cool. And even then, because of what you did at the launch of the game, you're still not going to recapture the player base because they have so many options that aren't you, to be honest with you. So it's just another thing. Live service slop. What are you going to do about it?
They have so many options that are not you. Banger point. Let's go over to Koji, then we'll tag in OG.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of this is just like the fallacy of success. Sometimes when things are going good, you release something and it it skyrockets. You're like, okay, well, we have the playbook now. We know how to make something amazing. Let's just sort of do that again with a slight twist. And like, I mean, we see it in our world too, like in 2020 or 2021 or whatever. NFTs were all the rage. Everyone was like, you know what, we're gonna make a shit ton on royalties. Let's just like put all these NFTs for free out in the world and make sure that people trade the shit out of them, and that will be our business model. And then all of a sudden, Blur comes along, and people are like, "Oh well, I guess we're fucked now." Like I think that like thinking because you've had a measure of success once, that you can replicate it again and again and again. Doesn't always work that way. And I'd also just want to push back a little bit on like the 100x the budget. In this well, in every space really, we talk a lot about how this team had all of this money. How could they not do X, Y, Z? Money is an accelerator, but it doesn't actually mean that you'll be successful. Like you can have a ton of money and burn it on nonsense, right? Like, and it's not even just bad choices, but the wrong choices, or it's just an accelerator, right? Money is just an accelerator. So if your ideas are mediocre, you're accelerating mediocre ideas. And so I don't think that like someone having a massive budget means and not being successful means that they blew it. It just means that like maybe some things were off kilter here. And it doesn't really have to do with the money. I just want to highlight that a little bit. But anyway, yeah, I think the point is that like sometimes you get a little high on your own success and you think like, oh, we did it once, we can do it again and again and again because the formula worked one time. When in fact, like Tony B said, sometimes it's about timing. The conditions were just right for the thing that you built just then. And it turns out like it's not necessarily what you did, but when you did it.
Yeah, you had a great quote on this show previously, which was something along the lines of, you can spend $1 billion and not be able to build a game in a day. It's just much more complicated than that. And so I always try to keep that in mind. Let's go over to OG.
I'm just surprised so many of you have played Splitgate, to be completely honest. I remember a couple of weeks ago, everyone was like, what's Expedition 33? I've never heard of that. And today everyone's like, oh, Splitgate 1 was awesome, and Splitgate 2 was like,
It's
not
COVID,
that
bro.
cool.
We had all the time in the world.
Apparently you still have time since you're playing Splitgate 2 in big 2025.
Roasted.
It's they're just victims of their own success, I guess. The sequel always sucks. I think Counter-Strike nailed it with CS2. I think Rainbow Six nailed it with Rainbow Six Siege X, because they're not different at all, to be completely honest, from the original. I think Splitgate 2 trying to mix things up and compete in a space which now has I think the top 10 games on Steam probably have like 3, 4, 5 shooters up there as well, and most of them are like ancient, like Rust and PUBG. So it's just, yeah, I think it's not COVID anymore. It's been said before. And Splitgate was like a cute game that you tried with your friends because you didn't want to play Fortnite because you were hip, or Warzone because you were just sick of Call of Duty. And I think now there's way too many shooters to play. And I think Marvel Rivals scratches that Overwatch itch a little bit with the hero shooter. I think CS is still CS and will always be CS, so that'll always eat up a piece of your pie. I think Fortnite's not going anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, it's just hard, and I don't think they're going to be the the first or last. You saw X Defiant kind of go into a similar trajectory where everyone called it a Call of Duty killer, was it, on release, and then very quickly they died out. Even though I think at peak it had like a stupid number, like 7-8 million players or something. So yeah, it's just sad, unfortunate truth about building a shooter game. I don't think it has anything to do with the money, to Koji's point as well. They could have raised 10 times more, and you'd still make fun of them for not succeeding. But I don't think it's like, oh, we raised more so the game will be better. It's just the timing of the game the first time was good. The second time it's just it didn't really nail the landing. But 30,000 players is still not bad. I feel like we're looking at the big numbers, sure, but what's I don't know, what's Call of Duty doing on Steam? Like 50 maybe. I don't know what Stardew Valley is doing, but it's probably around the same. So yeah, like 30K is maybe a flop in their perspective. I don't think it's like a flop,
But that was
but
I
again,
mean,
that's just me.
listen, just real quickly, Splitgate 2 has 2,000 players playing right now, and Call of Duty has 65,000.
Oh, so it's a Web3 game. Okay, gotcha. He said 30K
no,
though, so I thought it's
Well,
peak
30K
right.
peak. So yeah, probably on
That
launch,
was
right?
like week one shit. So we're suffering from, and you're right to an extent though. A lot of it is just the stark comparison to the original, but that's what happens. Like I get compared to my big brother because he's the original. I fucking wish I wasn't. Let's go over to Kevin Lambert, then to Sinjin.
Oh, real quick, I just want to address what OG said. No one played Expedition 33 on this panel because no one here wants to listen or read anything. It's all lizard brain shit, see gun, shoot gun. That's why they played this game.
I played the shit out of that game. Fuck you guys. I
Same.
love
Love
RPGs.
Expedition.
Yeah, I outsource my reading to other people. Let's go over to Kevin.
Oh, I know he didn't just say everyone on this panel didn't say play Expedition 33, but I know what he meant. All right, so I'm going to give the grizzled game developer take on this, and I have to put my business hat on for this, which I hate to do, but Splitgate 1 succeeded because of the limitations, right? Like not despite those limitations. Like that lean budget was what forced the scrappy marketing, the focused gameplay, the genuine community engagement. Like Halo meets Portal, that's more accessible and super low friction and faster pacing is incredible. So when you look at the other side of that, when you're flush with $130 million of cash, you're going to face that classic pitfall of trying to justify the budget. That's going to lead to scope creep, longer timelines, maybe a little bit bloated vision, and it's going to lose some of the immediacy and the charm that's going to make the first game really hit. And I hate having to put on the business hat and say we're tight and we have to march and rush to the finish line, but you usually get a better game that way than when you just have cash and you're like, I don't know, guys, what should we put in? So I think, the more money you raise, it's weird, but the less you're actually building an incredible game and the more you're selling your dream. And I think that's what happened. So the word would be overcapitalized, I guess, not intentionally, but just as an effect.
Yeah, no, it's a great one, right? Without all this money, they definitely would have made the pivot to battle royale because I'm sure that was very fucking expensive, to put it simply. Let's go over to Sinjin, then to Jerry.
Yeah, I think Kevin really nailed it. I think one other thing is, the word would be like selling the dream. I mean, if you are going to get funding for like a shooter game, there is a dream that you have to kind of sell, and that dream's got to be really big. It's got to be really unique, or maybe it's got to be the opposite and really niche and really going back to that that core. But you wonder as a sequel, like can you really flush that out again? And then with the money, you're like, okay, is that really enough to be niche and try to get that beachhead? And that's the whole thing about like a really, really saturated, mature market, is that if you don't kind of get that core niche audience or foothold, you really end up with nothing, right? You're the next pretty guy or girl walking in, but you're not really that special, and then the interest kind of fades right away. So it's really unfortunate, but it's also a call to say that the genre and video games in general, for most genres across the board, I mean, we are so spoiled right now, like as video gamers, like the choice and all the formats that there are available and the quality. So it's just even harder right now to develop something that is just like this hit across the board. I mean, I think game developers in general really kind of have to look inwardly and say, like, where can we kind of start small and kind of build from there? Just like any other startup in any other major industry where innovation is like, pretty widespread and, the competitors are just massive.
Great takes from Sinjin. Jerry, what's the word here, brother?
I think the word is Web3. And give me a second, Sam. Also, like, dude, like to the COVID point that these guys are making. Remember when we were all like enthralled by Tiger King because it was like the first show that like caught attention span in like after the shutdowns, and then now we look back and we're like, what the fuck were we all doing? Like we were all so weird in that moment in time. And I think
That
not to
guy's
say
still
that
an influencer, by the way, Jerry. That guy,
dude, Joe Exotic.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
jeez, isn't he in
he's
jail?
like doing shows from prison. It's crazy. Yeah.
Hell
So we're
yeah,
still in
dude.
that moment for what it's
Shout
worth.
out,
Anyway.
shout out Joey E. Yeah. So listen, man, I think this is just it- it's kind of what happens when you launch something that's half baked, right? So they launched something to Vidar's point, who is one of the most well, you know, listen, I always love when we get on these panels as crypto people and we're like, oh man, these microtransactions. But like to the normie, like it was like $80 microtransactions, right? So it's like cool, you got a free to play game, but like a battle pass or a skin is like $80. Like that's just kind of untenable, and it's like you can't slap gamers in the face, right? Like you probably could in real life because gamers are weirdos and they're probably into shit like that. But you can't slap them across the face like with gameplay because then they just turn on you so quickly. So, I think the fact that the microtransactions were crazy heavy, the fact that they tried to like pivot genres, and this wasn't like a follow-up to a successful game. It was like it's like a pivot away from some of the stuff that they were doing before, like a little bit of a move away from what was making them successful. And then you don't put in things like a free to play progression track, right? So there was no way to go through like people always do like the premium battle pass and then like the off-brand one, right? Where it's free and you can get a skin every like 5 levels or whatever. That wasn't there, right? There's no in-game player stats, right? So there's no reward in the most competitive genre of games where you literally just shoot each other and want to have the highest KD and make fun of your teammates who have a low KD and blame them for the loss, right? Those things aren't in the game. So it does just feel like this copycat game, and in a time where that is just all over the place, right? So there's been 20 other FPS games or shooters that we've seen come and go and have these spike trends and then pop, and then they just fall back down to earth and they shut down a year later. So, this game wasn't doing anything different, wasn't really innovating on anything. It wasn't offering something that they couldn't find elsewhere that they weren't already enjoying. So what do we expect players to do? Log in one time, see like, oh, this is a free to play game. I'll download it and play, and then they go, yeah, this sucks, right? So, I think this is kind of what expects to happen. And it, like the reason my word is Web3 is just doesn't this feel like every Web3 shooter we've seen, right? But it's also Web3 in a complementary way and in a hopeful way, which is like after the last 2 days in Web3 gaming, I have no idea why I have hope anymore. But I think there's got to be at least one Web3 team out there that can get 2,000 people in their game, right? So, I mean, now you have a bar to set. It's pretty fucking low. Can somebody just go beat this?
Yeah, let's dunk on them. Lems, quick take, then we're moving on.
Yeah, I'll be real quick because everyone's kind of done this one to death. My word's unrepeatable, and my analogy is, when a mini series comes out and you watch it and you're like, man, that was such a banger mini series. It was one series, they wrapped it up. It's all said and done. It's really well critically acclaimed. Everyone loves it, and then they're like, hey, you know what we should do? Can we give you guys more money to run back a second season and just like make that same magic happen again? And no, it just straight up misses the mark and doesn't do it. I'm also going to drop a thread here, which was shared in the Wolves Den earlier, which is really interesting on like how the gaming industry has changed in the last few years and how much like more things you have to fight for attention with, and why we're likely going to see more of these big budget games like keep flopping. It was like really interesting from a guy who worked at Square Enix. So I'll drop it in there for anyone who has more than a lizard brain and can read for more than 2 paragraphs, because it is a little bit long.
I have two thoughts on this before we move on. First is an anecdote. Me and Peyton were actually at our very first GDC together. Nobody knew who we were. We managed to get into this rooftop party, and we met the people from 1047. And I remember meeting them right after Splitgate got viral success. They were literally raising at that GDC, and we were like, guys, like such an amazing game, great work, whatever. And we asked them like, what's next for you? And they were like, oh man, we're cooking up something huge. Like Splitgate 2 is going to be crazy. So very interesting to see this come to fruition. And then also, Splitgate 2 was the first game that I was able to play again after being crippled for my health issues for like 4 years. I could barely hold a phone or a controller or whatever. Splitgate 2 or Splitgate 1 was the first game that I played again because my little brother and my fiance's dad were always playing it together. And so I call him my little brother. He's my, I guess, brother-in-law or whatever. Anyway, hope that these guys are able to figure it out. I think the game originally was really cool, but it really is a snapshot in time, right? It's like, imagine if Fall Guys was like, yeah, Fall Guys was cool, but don't worry, Fall Guys 2 coming in 4 years. Just hang out for a bit. Trust us, it'll be even more fun. And it's like, it's not how people work. Now it's old news. So sorry to see them going through that. Anyway, we move on. Sentiment Score, another shooter. Reaper Actual, another Web3 shooter, launching on Tezos. We saw it come out last week. Stealth Drop. Their trailer announced $30 million fundraise to make a first-person shooter. It's founded by industry veteran John Smedley. I heard about this game over 2 years ago, but I wasn't able to talk about it, so it's very cool to see it come to fruition. Who's launched games like H1Z1 and EverQuest. Smedley said, quote, "This is the type of game that could bring millions and millions of people in. If the history of games I've worked on are any evidence, we're going to be able to make we're going to be able to sell Web 2 players on this idea of Web 3 done right. You love to see it," unquote. They say it's going to be the largest FPS map ever created, 4 times larger than Call of Duty Warzone. The pre-alpha version is set to release soon, requiring players to purchase a limited edition base, so basically their version of land NFTs, which is going to be an NFT on Tezos Layer 2 Etherlink, and will be tradable on marketplaces. It also sounds like they have some payment options for non-crypto users. So what is your sentiment score on this new game from an experienced founder with $30.5 million? Tony, show me the money.
I rarely do this, but my sentiment's way down on this one, guys. I like Smed a lot as a person. We work together at Amazon, and I think that he's a really, really cool human that I would love to go and drink beers with and hang out with. But I've watched him fly millions, probably tens of millions of Amazon's dollars into the sun, and not make anything at Amazon. And I was pretty close to that process, and so I have a pretty good perspective on how that happened. And so I'm pretty down sentiment on this thing being successful. But I hope it is. Like I said, I like Smed a lot. Great, he's a very nice human. But if I had money to invest in stuff, it wouldn't be this.
Fair take from the man himself. Let's go to Koji, then to Kevin.
Yeah, my sentiment score is going to be a solid 3, mainly because of all the undisclosed shills from all of the influencers that we know and love. Just kidding. I know there was just a long thread about people complaining about, oh, we just saw the game and whatever. But my what I actually want to say is just I'm gonna quote my idol George Bush again and say, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, won't get fooled again. We've heard this same song and dance from a lot of other companies in the past, a lot of shooters, and I think that I'm not saying they can or can't do it, but it's gonna they have a much higher hill to climb now because of all the things that have come before them. And so I think people are going to be very hesitant to buy into these ideas. And this is going to have to be a show me, not tell me situation. So, I mean, if they can show me, then my sentiment score will be through the roof. But for now, just hearing about it, I'm like, oh my God, I have an allergy.
It was cool to see them immediately jump into Discord the next day and have a playable demo. That was different from what I've seen from a lot of Web3 games. However, it does sound like you're going to have to buy NFTs before you're able to get access to the game, which has not always led to positive results. Kevin, over to you.
So here's the thing that I used to tell people like over the last couple of years. I'm like, it feels like there's a barbell in Web3 game development. And on one side of this barbell, you have Web3 native people who raised all this funding during the 2021 NFT boom or the 2017 crypto boom or whatever. And they're flush with capital, but they do not know how to make a game and they don't have the talent. And then on the other side of this barbell, you've got Web 2 developers who are game developers who know how to make good games, and they're strongly intrigued of the Web 3 opportunity, sometimes for its cash, sometimes because of, you know, the cool things you can do with blockchain, but they don't understand the culture. And then they do things like, hey, we're slapping NFTs in our game. Don't you want to buy them? What do you mean you don't want to buy them? And you just and you have these horrible experiences that the group here and all of the audience would look at and go, ugh, and groan. And, you know, you could even say that like Shrapnel's original launch was, you know, a cool looking game, but they just did not really understand the Web3 culture when they first came to market. And that's what I worry about here is that I'm looking at the team, I'm looking at the background, I see all this Web2 experience and SMED and the ability to launch a great game potentially, but I don't see anything that says they understand Web3. Even the shills, like, that looks like the playbook of people who are like, I don't know, figure out this Web3 thing and get them excited, right? I don't see any exciting innovation in the Web3 department. I do in the game. Like the gameplay, it's got, you know, you can take a break. The factions are still warring. It's a living environment, even when you're offline. That's cool. There's some cool stuff there. The game could be really fun, but I've thought that of a few games that are on the right side of that barbell that I mentioned, and you just are like, what are you doing? Why did you choose Web3 for this? You know, so I'm going to take the cautiously optimistic route, you know, rather than jump down with the Tonys and the Kojis at the 2 and the 3. I'll give it a 5. But, and my sentiment score will also go greatly with any kind of like, hey, the reason for Web3 is this, and it's cool and innovative and they understand. But I don't have any of that, and it makes me wonder, why are they here so far?
Spang, save us from despair. Why is this a 10 out of 10 sentiment score, Spang?
Oh God. I wish this was a what's the word, because my word would be Splitgate, because it is giving me the exact same vibe as Splitgate. It's doing all the things right. I watched the trailer, I hear, biggest map ever, all of that stuff. Kevin mentioned some cool things that they're doing with the gameplay, but I don't know. All I've really seen is the trailer. I wasn't one of the lucky ones that got looped in early, so I can't speak to that. But the game, it feels like we were talking about before. It feels like they pointed at, a Fortnite Tom Clancy coming together of worlds from a gameplay perspective, and are like, oh, let's take the best bits out of all of that and put them together and put it in this living world, and then let's add Web3. And a lot of people are talking about, okay, what is the Web3? We still don't really know. It's still a little bit up in the air. What shocked me the most about this game was the fact that I found out about it. I saw that there were 2 different Twitter accounts. There's a Reaper Actual Twitter account, and then there's a Reaper Actual Web3 Twitter account. I think that's what it's called. And that, I think, sums it up right there. Kevin was talking about the 2 different sides of the barbell. I feel like it's exactly that. I feel like it's trying to play 2 different avenues, 2 different angles. There's not really any mention of Web3 on the forward-facing stuff, and they're really hyping up the Web3 on the other side. It feels weird. I'm not sure how to explain it, but I've tried my best, and unfortunately, my sentiment score is also going to be 3. But mine was going to be a 3 for Web3. Throw a little theme in there.
Wow, nice. Yeah, the 2 Twitter account thing was weird. I mean, it's one of those things like a year ago, I think it would have been well received. We're like, oh, cool, they're doing something different. They're trying to split the audio, like smart, don't want to get, but now we're just like, I don't know. Jerry, over to you.
Listen, I am trying to be better as a person. Yeah, shit. I'm trying to be a better person, right? So I'm gonna try to find some positives here, because I don't want to just fucking shit on Web3 games all the time. I do want to see this industry succeed, right? So, I will say, like, I do think the barbell is very appropriate. The call out of that, and it, it's like nobody likes a fence straddler. We don't like them on this panel. We don't fucking like them. Like, you ever meet somebody that just doesn't decide what their opinion is on something, and it's like, just fucking do it or don't, man. So yeah, I have some issues with like the way that they're kind of bringing this thing to market so far. I think it's honestly just been kind of a huge fumble up to this point, right? Like the fact that they just didn't make sure that their creators disclosed, the fact that that only got the traction that it did, I think shows you where we're at in Web3 gaming. Like everybody was talking about it and their account went to like 4,000 followers, right? So like that's crazy. Um the fucking fact that this guy as the founder doesn't know how to reply to a tweet and keeps quote tweeting everything to reply to it. It's like I'm trying to find what this guy is fucking how his mind works and I can't because everything's a fucking quote tweet, dude. So it's like yeah, it feels like 2020, 2021 when like these boomer game people were coming in and they're like, haha, we know how to make games, this is gonna work, and then all these people who just know how to make like degen minded games are eating their lunch right now, right? So that said, all right, I got the negatives out of the way. I'm trying to find some positives with this game, and I do think that like if they can pull off this persistent world AI thing that they're talking about, where like if players can kind of have more influence over the AI, like the way it's written, they say like, "Oh, AI will continue to do battle whether players are there or not," and then they can make a choice. I don't get that excited about that, but I think if like as a collective, people can start to influence these factions and the player base as a whole can start to figure out ways to tweak AI and have it do battle in different ways or have it have some more unique characteristics, I think that's actually kind of cool. And I think that there could be people who resonate with that. The bigger map than Call of Duty, the competition. Like we're doing this segment after we just shit on another shooter. So it's very hard to like just look at shooters right now in general. But I think there's a couple unique things here that if you kind of sift through like the fumbles that they're making, and if they hone in on some of those kind of more exciting points that I think the games industry will be more receptive to as a whole, I think they have something that could be interesting here. So, but for the love of God, man, please hire some outside help, dude. Hire a consultant to help you with your marketing efforts. It's bad right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, they kind of did hire a consulting group, right? They hired what I think was AP Collective to do this, and there's no
I,
hand-holding experience where they actually educate them on the perils of Web3. They just kind of say like, yeah, we'll take the money and we'll
yeah. Well,
DM a bunch of influencers.
what's going on over at AP Collective, dude? Like they know better than this. So what's happening over there? I'm a little disappointed to hear that because I like the AP guys, and to hear that they've been involved in this is not the best look for them right now. And I don't mean to talk shit, right? I'm not trying to be super critical, but like what's going on over there that this is what they're letting a high paying client put out. It's not good. And I think you see when some of these agencies are more NFT and like mint out project type agencies versus people who are trying to build a gaming narrative. It's a different skill set, and I don't think they're doing a very good job at building up the exciting parts of the game. Because if the aim is to attract Web 2, they're just attracting nobody right now, right? So they're getting nobody excited about this when they need to go to one side of that barbell or the other.
Hashtag jerrysconsulting.com.
One thing I haven't seen people, we talked about Fortnite, we talked about Splitgate, Call of Duty, Warzone, whatever. Nobody's mentioned Rust. And a bunch of my friends, especially in Web 2, are diehard Rust players with the bases and these server resets and this big island that everybody's on, and it's persistent. You can die and you keep coming back. I haven't seen anybody really eat their lunch in a long time. So I do think there is a market segment they could potentially fit into. I want to go to OG and then I want to tag in Dub.
Just real quick, that's because Rust is for psychopaths, and there's only a few people like that can play the game consistently.
That's true. I fucking hate the game, which is why I just tell my friends,
I don't
you guys
talk
have
to
fun.
I don't talk to Rust players is the problem, Sam.
OG, over to you.
Yeah, I wish I was new in the space, I think is what I want to say. Because I think if it first or second or third rodeo, this would be really exciting. And I try as hard as possible as well, like Jerry, to stay positive. And I do hope from the bottom of my heart that they do succeed. And, you know, part of us building what we build is trying to, you know, showcase games and hope that one of them sticks and that, you know, people love it and they come and they join Web3 and so on and so forth. But I am wary of the look what this founder has built before or has worked on before script, because we've heard that many times. I am wary of the this is much bigger / better / more fun than enter game name, which is in this case, I guess the map is bigger than Fortnite or whatever. And I am very wary of. Actually, I just found out that they have 2 different accounts, and funny enough, the Web3 one is at 6K, Jerry, not 4. Correction. But the actual game account is only at 1.5 or something. So I wonder if it's just us excited about this, because, you know, if it's as big of a deal, then you see a lot more people talking about it. You see a lot more people rallying behind it, trying to see, you know, what does the game look like, how does it feel, etc., etc. And I think the fact that they've chosen to do that separation willingly kind of already tells you what the rest of it is going to look like, in terms of like one account will be the quote unquote Web3 one that just talks about the token and the NFTs and the mints and, you know, the launches and the OpenSea listings and whatever's going to come. And the other account will be like, oh, look at the specs and, you know, look at this cool footage and look at this and look at that. And I feel like that's very, very, very like 2021, 2022-ish. So yeah, I'm wary, and I try to be optimistic and I try to be positive. The non-disclosing thing is actually a bit more funny than anything, because you got to play a game of like guessing who actually got paid and didn't disclose and who just did it for the love of the game. But yeah, the thing that bothers me the most is I think the script's been run down. I do hope it does well. From the bottom of my heart, I wish them all the best. I hope they prove everyone wrong and, you know, they beat all the games that they want to beat. But, you know, we've seen it all. We've seen it all, Sam. So at this point, I'll just wait for the product. I'll wait for the game, try it out. If it's fun, it's fun. If it's not, then, you know, we just move on to the next. But yeah, big number, 30 million, big name, big background history, games that they've worked on. Doesn't really do much anymore, unfortunately, in this space. And it's not their fault. And, you know, they could be the best team ever, and, you know, they could go on to do great things. It's just that we've heard the script so many times. And look at us here today, like the 12 people left in the space that are constantly talking to each other. The fact that the sentiment here is like a 2 or 3, and I think Jerry was trying to go for what was it, a 4
No,
or 5?
I think I forgot. I'll give my boy Schmiedley a 6.
Yeah, I think Jerry going for a 6. Then I'll sit on the fence at like a 5, because I wish them the best, but I also don't know if I'm the most excited.
So anybody that maybe doubts my Rust reference, by the way, it's a 7-year-old game, 7.5 years if you're doing the math. Right now, random Wednesday, 124,000 concurrent players this minute. Not peak 24 hours. This minute, random Wednesday, 2x Call of Duty, fucking 120x Splitgate 2. Let's go to Dove and then to Tatted.
Yeah,
It's called building a good game, Sam.
I feel pretty concerned because me and my homies are actually pretty big Rust fans. So I guess I'm a fucking psychopath, confirmed.
No one was surprised to learn that one.
And I already went on a really heavy rant on Simplified on my sentiment score being a 2 here. I would say it will be a 5 if they do want to hire me as the community manager face and we want to run back that whole thing again. Could be fun. But to add like some serious concern around this, beyond the fact that they call themselves an MMORPG in the Steam page, they actually have 3 Twitter accounts, and they're paying for the big block squares, which is like 10K, 30K per month. So they can do that with their studio.
You're talking about the gold thing?
Yeah.
No, it's not that expensive. I think it's like $1,000 to start or something.
Well, that's a lot to us in this market right now.
You're just doing it 30K a month. Jesus Christ.
Whatever, money's money. Where my concern is that this game started like, it sounds like 3 or 4 to 5 years ago. And when you start a shooter that early, and you can see it in the gameplay videos that they have, you get outdated on the core gameplay really quickly. and it's really hard to go back and update that shit. It's why I called it Shrapnel 2.0 out the gate. We were constantly like fighting that, and it's the same thing. So like really on a like pure gameplay development, the gunplay feel is going to be kind of stuck in the past, and for them to be able to make up for that with the rest of the stuff, and the fact that they're putting it in a land sale and stuff like that, it doesn't make sense when you get down to the hard details of everything. So I hope it works out. I would be the face of it if they wanted, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Sorry, I got caught between. I want to read this comment from Camille, from head of BD at Polygon. He says, my only issue with Reaper Actual is the go-to-market strategy. Feels all over the place. I don't feel the excitement yet. The gameplay feels cool. I mean, I'd be interested in playing it. Shooters are oversaturated, but everyone keeps playing them. So I'll keep looking for those titles, hoping the best for the team. Even Keel take there. Drew Bleem also says Rust is for psychos, but there's a fuck ton of us who like to game with some good old masochism, which I think is a fair take. Let's go over to Tatted Lawyer, then we'll tag in Sinjin.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna probably give this a sentiment score of 10, and then I'm gonna multiply that 10 by 0 because all I saw, all I've heard so far about Reaper of their unique selling proposition is that they have a huge map that 200 players can play on. I don't know if anybody remembers Warzone 2, I think El Mazara or whatever. Their big selling proposition was it's a way bigger map than Verdansk, and we were potentially going to have 150 people in the same thing. And guess what? Players hated it. They hated it enough that they had to bring a map that they launched 5 years ago back because no one wanted to play it anymore. So if that's their unique selling proposition, like, yeah, it sounds like they started the game back in 2020 or 2021 when that was a cool selling proposition, but then we've now seen that play out and it failed. So if that's the only thing that's unique about it, then my sentiment score is, you know, negative because A, it's a shooter, which we've seen what shooters do. B, it doesn't look like it's kind of, or excuse me, I don't really see any revolutionary elements to it. And then C, like I said, their unique selling proposition is something that we've already seen in a marketing way fail. And so for everybody else's reasons here, from the hype to the go-to-market strategy, I just don't have a lot of faith in it. And it's not even Reaper itself. I'm sure it's actually probably a fun game or a cool game, but it's like we say on here week after week after week. It's really, really hard to pull players away from the games that they've been playing for the last 8-9 years. And unfortunately, the FPS genre is just filled with players who've been playing the same game for 7 or 8 years. And to introduce them to a new game, they're like, no. Like maybe they'll play it like we just talked about with Splitgate for 3, 4, or 5 days. Great. But your retention rates your churn rates are going to be super, super high because once they play it, they're going to try it. They're going to see that their friends are still playing this old game that they've been playing for 8 years, and they're going to go back to playing the same game because their friends are playing it. And so you don't have to convince one person to play your game. You have to convince an entire friend group to go play your game, or your people are going to go play it. So I have a very low sentiment score. This is my opinion for most shooters, but just from hearing everything of what your guys are saying is the unique selling proposition, it just seems like something that's been tried and failed many, many times, both in traditional gaming and in Web3 gaming. And so to me, it's a total non-starter. I don't even know why we're talking about it so much.
Yeah, fair enough. Zach D in the comments also says, "Is 30 million even enough to build, maintain, and market?" I would assume not, which is probably why they're selling NFTs. You know?
No, it's not.
Yeah. Sinjin and then Lems for a quick word before we move on from this one.
Yeah, actually, I love the concept. And let's put aside the Web3 and please shut the fuck up about go-to-market strategy and their whatever. You guys all sound like fucking peon VCs, okay? So putting aside all that, you know, strategy and technical gameplay in one game as a shooter, I think it's fucking awesome. You know, if you can like create your own bases and really level them up. And I don't even care about the 200 player base. I mean, I think if you're going towards this where it is kind of like this RPG / whatever shooter MMO, then you know whatever 200 is, whatever it is. But the fluid faction, the AI aspect of it. But you know the one major issue here is that strategy players who would be attracted to this game, they suck at tactical games, right? So like the gameplay really needs to be balanced towards strategy players if you want to get the 200 player base, because that's true. If it's a first person shooter game, right, it's already been done before, right? But if it's actually targeting strategy players who like that kind of tactical aspect, then I think, you know, there's a way forward for it. But the thing is, like, with an MMO player or a strategy player who is not primarily a shooter player, you know, teamwork and the gameplay for that really needs to be almost primary. But again, we all know that teamwork is the hardest thing for most gamers to do, right? And the fact is that really I'm more of a core strategy player, you know, and I'm the most annoying Dota player to have on your team, because all I want to do is want to get the towers down
He's a
and
rat.
push and
He
get a
plays
win
rat.
with. Yeah, I'm a rat. I'm not just a rat. I'm like I force the entire team to like play my way, because like I won't help them if they're not fucking pushing, and it's so annoying. But I think a win in Dota is when you have less kills than the other team, and then you still take down their
What a
base,
psycho,
right?
dude.
Especially when they're all higher level than you. I know, but you know, I play like game designer does. But if the AI can actually be strategic or tactical in the game, depending on how you play it, they could actually create a really new genre here. And you know, he's like, you know, founder of Evercrack. So, you know, I think I love the design. And here's the thing about it is like if you're very clear on what you want and you have a very clear goal that's really differentiated, you can design for it. It doesn't matter how cynical everyone else here is and like this has failed and that's failed or whatever. And if that's the case, then like you could just dismiss anything new because it's failed like so many times. And I think for games, especially if you're very clear on what you want, you can absolutely design for it. But talking about the Web3 aspect of it, I mean, they picked Tezos. I mean, like I've talked to the guys at Tezos a couple of years ago. They actually hired a really good guy who's from gaming, and I had like one of the best discussions with him, but it's still Tezos, right? And their push for Web3, I think that's confusing the F out of everyone. The fact that they have like 3 different, you know, accounts on Twitter or whatever like that. But so my sentiment score with the Web3 aspect is 4. But you know what? You know, you guys are like, oh, boomer this, boomer that. But this guy's been around, you know, and, you know, they have AP Collective, like letting them, you know, whatever, advising them or whatever like that. What if, you know, actually Reaper is just farming Tezos? And I think if that's the case, you know, and it just comes out as a game at the end and they're just whatever, and they end up losing all the blockchain stuff. My sentiment score for this just as a game is 8. I think I'm very hopeful for it. I would love to see this concept come to life, and I think it's extremely exciting, and I think you guys are all cynical fuckers.
Yeah, I mean, as Tony V would say, show me the money had to be how Tezos landed this game. It's the only thing I can imagine raising and also landing a first-person shooter on a chain that's just not, nothing against them. It's just not known for gaming. And these things don't happen randomly. If you were going to go somewhere and not get money, you would pick something that has a lot of games like Avalanche.
Yeah, Tezos has been very aggressive the last couple of years actually pitching. And you know, they've wanted it, but no one has really wanted to go on Tezos because it's Tezos. Like they haven't been relevant since the early days of, you know, L2s, literally like post, you know, Ethereum, like 2 years past, right? But yeah, they've been very aggressive, and I think again, if they're just farming them for the grant, I say go for it. And if they end up launching it just as a game without any Web3 things and they drop it all, and they actually, you know, get that gameplay balance and that niche down, I think it's gonna be fantastic.
Interesting takes. Great to hear it, Sinjin. Lems, quick final word. Actually, real quick, JJ in the audience says, you all keep saying shooters fail. Right now, a stick figure shooter has more players than all of Web3. Maybe shooters are the way. Fair. I don't think people are saying all shooters fail. I think we're just a little bit grief-stricken over the failure of our previous ones. Lems, over to you.
All right, you guys just kind of ruined my point. I was going to be like, man, we've come such a long way. The silver lining is that no one focused on the chain here, and everyone was like focusing on the viability of the game. And then Sinjin, you have to like go and ruin my point, because I was going to say we've come a long way in the last few years if we're not going to focus on just the chain thing, and it probably doesn't really matter if it's all going to be abstracted on the back end anyway. So I'm still going to make my point because I'm glad that most of the panel focused on the viability of the game and not like, oh, bearish because it's on a chain that no one cares about.
Fair take. Real quick, got to give a shout out to our amazing sponsors. Up first, Avalanche isn't just cool, it's cryogenic. As the official chain of gamified. It's leading the charge with instant finality, L1 scalability, and a crew colder than an ice mage in arena overtime. If you're looking for a perfect way to dive into the depths of gaming it has to offer, there's no better way than to start with the AVAX Battle Pass Season 1, playing Gold Fever, Off the Grid, Spellborn, and other great AVAX games in order to earn AVAX tokens and NFTs. Thank you to Avalanche for being an incredible sponsor and even better gaming chain. I say that with my chest out because I fucking love these guys. Up next, Farcade is officially retired. Pour one out. It's now Remix. If you always wanted to be a game dev, just open the AI studio, throw in your weirdest prompts at remix.gg, and watch a game materialize faster than a pizza delivery. Then blast it into social feeds where you can get millions of plays without a following. Watch friends and randos obsess over it. Collect your trophies like a game-making demigod you were born to be. With Remix, you don't need to know how to code, design, or even spell JavaScript. You just need an idea and the courage to unleash it. And of course, if you're tired of being a pawn in somebody else's playtest, Game 7 makes you the main character. Whether you're crafting code, championing communities, or just showing up and staying active, you'll be recognized, rewarded, and remembered. With credits and soulbound status, and word on the chain is something big is coming. So power up your plotline with Game 7, the official infrastructure of Gamified. Who's the asshole? Not of our amazing sponsors, we love them, but who's the asshole? Revolving Games has some drama. Haunted Space had some drama. I'm gonna run us through it. And there's a great thing on Reddit where they basically say, "Am I the asshole?" Somebody tells an anecdotal story, and you either say you're the asshole, they're the asshole, or everyone sucks here. And I'm curious if everyone just sucks here, or if somebody in particular is like the villain in these stories. So for anybody who's been living under a rock hasn't seen this, Amar, the founder of Revolving Games, had taken a $100,000 angel check from a guy named Lucky Trades, I think, in their rounds. No contract was signed. Yeah, I know, already starting strong. Lucky wanted a refund after the TGE was potentially delayed, and Amar said he would, but kept delaying it. And then eventually, we have this amazing new copy pasta, which is, quote, "I spoke to my lawyer. I will not be giving a refund. Go fuck yourself," end quote. And then in other Web3 gaming drama, we had Haunted Space threaten legal action for defamation against Verted, who they may or may not have known was a 15-year-old content creator on Twitter. Verted dropped a thread calling Haunted Space a scam and a rug after doing multiple pre-sales. They could have, responded to claims in replies or DM'd him, but instead they threatened legal action if he didn't edit or remove the post, saying it was defaming them. Verted has since taken down the post, and Haunted Space put a mega thread out stating that they felt like this post undid 4 years of hard work for them, building the reputation, etc. So out of all these stories, there's basically 4 different characters in this. Does everyone suck here, or is somebody sticking out to you as the asshole in this case? Jerry, known for calling out assholes, let's go to you.
I hate everybody involved in all of these stories, and including myself for getting involved in them. Um, I don't even have a ranking, dude. I mean, here I do. The lowest guy on my Mount Rushmore of assholes here is the fucking guy who signed the contract and sent the 100K, or didn't sign the contract and sent 100K, and it was like, hey, can I have that back? And it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing with yourself, dude? You're like, crypto made the wrong people rich in some ways, right? And it's like, I have no sympathy for this guy. Um, so yeah, lowest for me, that guy. Verted, also an asshole just because he's 15. And like, this is like the second doesn't he keep finding himself in these situations? I don't know him. He seems whatever, dude. He's entertained me for like last 2 days, but this is like the second time. Like, he keeps finding himself in these situations, right? So I don't really think it's any fault of his own. He's a young kid, whatever. I don't like young kids. So Verted sucks too. Haunted Space sucks fucking big time, dude. Like, I don't know anything about the game really. I think they asked me to play it and I forgot to DM the guy back. I like AVAX, obviously. I just think that was such a stupid thing to do, right? Like, I tweeted about that this morning. Like, nobody really cared, right? 20,000 views is not worth, like, they amplified that tenfold at least, right? Way more people saw it because they let it bother them. And if you're that fragile as a game, like, you have way bigger problems, right? If 20,000 views was going to derail you, you were already going to fail. So now I'm just not paying attention to them. Kind of Chad move, Amar. He's an asshole for just like the general like edging this guy perpetually for months. But I will forgive anything when you drop a banger line like, "I spoke to my lawyer. I'll not be sending a refund. Go fuck yourself." Like that's kind of cool. So he's an asshole, but you know, he's not that bad. This is just like the immaturity of Web3 gaming just like had this like it all coalesced upon each other in this Big Bang-esque immature shit fest. Like nobody takes themselves seriously all at once. And yeah, I think that, dude, I mean, the last 2 days have been a perfect representation of what it's been like to be in Web3 gaming.
So many hands up, so many takes I want to hear, but first I want to go to the Titan of Taboo. Who's the asshole here?
Oh, I think Haunted Space is the asshole number one, just picking on Verd. And I love Verd. If you think he's an asshole, you're a fucking asshole. The kid's 15 years old. And sometimes, like, you know, the kid's telling the truth. I mean, this is a smart 15-year-old. My 15-year-old is not even like 1/3 as smart as this kid is, you know, or my 16-year-old actually. I love you, son. If you ever listen to this, it's nothing against your intellect. You have other skills that God gave you. Thank God your younger brother is smart.
Yeah, he's a handsome kid. Your 15-year-old
Anyways,
is gonna do just fine.
yeah, he's gonna be a superstar, but still, anyways, God's fair. Listen, I love Bird. He's telling the truth. Why is he getting in trouble? Because he doesn't know better than to like fucking be a, you know, a simp, you know, whatever, like a fraud in some ways. I mean, he's just saying it for what it is. But to, you know, go off and then send him a DM like this, whatever like this, I get it. Like they're trying their best, this team, and you know anything that happens, like they just want to kind of stifle it. But they're not Amazon, they're not a publicly listed stock company. You know, they could have gone, you know, a better way, and just shows a lot of immaturity from their management to like not take it, not even on the chin, but to address it in a measured way as well, which they could have done. You know, people rag on the legality and like it's so stupid what happened between Lucky Trades and the other founder, whatever like that. But that was the nature of their relationship in terms of how this transaction was going. It was through DMs. The guy sent 100K. The guy accepted it. You know, he didn't send an SAF back or whatever like that. And then, you know, was he very transparent about everything? Not really. I mean, the guy ends up deleting everything and then basically says, you know, I'm going to bury you and, you know, fuck you. Okay, make it public. And the guy does. And then he writes this response back, which is totally gaslighting, like by the 100th level, trying to look like he's professional and then everything was on this other guy's side or whatever like that. And if you read his response back, it is really just complete, utter bullshit. Right. And so both of them were like at that particular level of being unprofessional, but doing it, you know, but they did a transaction, they did it through. So legally, yes, talk to his lawyer. Lawyer says he doesn't actually have to pay him, like, fuck off. Yes, of course. Right. But that wasn't the level of discourse or the interaction that they were at that point. Right. Lucky Trades is Lucky Trades, man. He's just another player. And, you know, like there's an investor. So he put the money in. How can you fault the guy? And then the founder, if he wanted to be, you know, straight up with the guy, says, listen, you put it in. I'm sorry. That's just the way it goes, whatever like that. And thank you for, you know, funding the company at 150 million valuation, you know. Thank you. Thank you. And, you know, what the fuck? He gives a safe agreement and it's like less than 0.1% anyways of the company shares. Like, why should the founder really, he should be appreciative, but instead, you know, he says, okay, I'm going to pay you back, you know, we're going to unwind this investment. I agree to do it and stuff like this. And then, you know, it's all there. And the nature of, you know, this level of interaction with all these degens and the money going back and forth, crypto, whatever like that. I mean, it's as valid as it gets because the whole reason why Lucky Trades was able to send the 100K like that was because the crypto space on that level is not based off of agreements. It's based off of public perception and trust because you need that hype. You know, you don't want these things to go public. You want to keep the trust between all the crypto.
Uh-oh. Sinjin down bad for anybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a heater though. A lot of good takes in there. Since both of these stories do involve some level of legality, I want to tag in the tatted lawyer. What's your take on sort of the situations here?
Yeah, so in the Amir revolving games situation with Lucky Trades, I think both of them are assholes. Lucky Trades is an asshole for expecting to get a refund. Amir is an asshole for saying I will give you a refund. Without a contract, a lot of this is in favor of revolving games because if you send $100,000 without a contract, like I'm sorry, man, there's a word called accountability, and right now you don't have any. So realistically, yeah, Was he an asshole for saying I'll refund you and then saying I don't have to? Sure, but should you not send $100,000 to somebody without a written contract? Absolutely, even more so. So accountability there, huge. Revolving games, he's right. I talked to my lawyers, go fuck yourself. That's real. There's no contract, there's no rules, there's no enforceability. Just because I said I would doesn't mean I have to. So that's not really how contracts work. So I'm going to say both sides assholes. Lucky Trade's a bit of an asshole just for not getting a contract and expecting his money back. Amir, the biggest asshole for saying I will give you your money back and not. But hey, in business, there's a lot of assholes. You know, that's called being an adult, being a professional. It's kind of part of the industry or part of getting into business. The other one, a little bit. It's actually a little bit interesting from a legal perspective. The one huge thing, because I know Bert too. I like Bert. I talked to him a little bit about some of our games with forums about a year ago. He's a kid. Kids say stupid things on the internet all the time. The one thing that he needs to understand that could get him in trouble is he does have a certain amount of influence in a space now. You know, he has built himself up. People like him. People respect him. As Sinjin said, one of his favorites. So one thing that people have to realize is that words do matter, especially when your words carry influence. So saying something's bad versus saying something is a scam are two very different things. And to call everything that's bad a scam or to equivocate those two words as being the same thing is actually a very, very important thing because a scam is denotes fraud. It means you're actively trying to defraud people versus you might just be a crappy founder or doing crappy things that people think are bad, and that's bad, but that's not a scam. So does Revolving Games, or excuse me, what is it called, haunted whatever, do they have a a grievance? Sure. Do I think they should have gone anywhere with it? Absolutely not. Do I think Vertage needs to start to understand, like, oh, yes, I might be 15, I might be 16, it doesn't really matter, but I'm starting to gain influence, and I actually, my words carry weight. Yes, that's again bringing us back to the word accountability. Like everybody has accountability. It doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are. If you start to gain some kind of influence on the internet, there's rules that come with that influence. So I'll say, was it a nothing burger? Absolutely. It's just normal people talking about stupid things. Everybody would have forgotten about it in a week anyway. But the fact that it happened and the fact that it did blow up should shed light on, like, hey, if you're a creator, you do have to watch what you say sometimes because defamation is real. And even though in this case it's stupid and it was way overblown, there's a real, issue with saying something like, oh, it's a scam or it's fraud or it's this, when in reality it's just, bad decisions, bad founders, bad whatever. But that does matter, and words matter in such a big way. So I'm going to say Vert, not an asshole, just a learning moment for him. But it's one of those, hey, you can't just play the I'm 15 card forever, especially because if this company did want to take action, guess who's going to get screwed? His parents, because he is a minor. So it doesn't mean just because he's a minor and he himself might not have the liability, his parents do. And that's how the world works. So accountability is a huge thing here on both sides. I think it's going to be a nothing burger all around. I'd be very surprised to see a company burning its treasury going after a 15-year-old, but it's possible, and it's a world that we have to start recognizing as we grow and mature as a space. We have to really, really start using that word accountability and actually, holding people to it. And hopefully, with this, it becomes a learning experience that makes the space a little better than it was before.
Appreciate that thorough take, Tatted. We are running out of time, and I want to get one more topic in for the end of the show. So if the remaining hands could go a little bit quicker, I'd appreciate it. Vidar, and then to Tony and Kevin.
Oh boy, as usual, it never gets old. Being here for fucking over a decade, and still everyone's a fucking retard and everyone's a fucking asshole. This happened last time, every time there's a new cycle. I remember in 2021, a bunch of retards made a bunch of money again, and everyone started throwing money at every fucking project under the sun without contracts, or even with contracts. Sometimes you just don't get the fucking money back because, this is cryptocurrency. You're not going to get the shit back. They're going to go blow it in Miami on Lambos in their apartment and oh shit, we're out of money. Fuck, it's done. Look, Amir's an asshole. The kid's an asshole. He's an asshole for expecting, at first promising the refund back. If you're not going to give the money back, don't reply. Go talk to your lawyer first and be like, okay, we're going to give you back because we have no fucking contract with you. And that kid's an asshole for expecting it back. You know, like, what the fuck? Like, you make an investment, you have to take a calculated risk, right? Assume when you make an investment that money's gone for all intents and purposes. Assume it's not there, especially in cryptocurrency. It's gone, right? And as for Haunted Space, I actually tried the game too. They messaged me on Twitter and had me go into the Discord and test the game. It sucks, but you know, it is what it is. So, you know, look, this is nothing new. Honestly, Sam, I think you could have endless content when it comes to retards in Web3. You could probably make a segment every week about retards losing money, and you just never run out of fucking content.
But it's rarer in Web3 gaming specifically. If we wanted to do the Soul Jakey route and expand to Solana, dude, we could do 7 shows a week of this. So Lambert.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna share a little bit of Vidar's sentiment in that this is not a new story. I think everyone's an asshole here. I think Amar is, as Jerry said, the biggest Chad here. That quote, my friends and I have already been using it daily, and it's just fucking hysterical. I think the haunted spaces guys are ridiculous. I see we just invited Verted up here. I think that your management of this situation has been real good. I still think you're kind of an asshole, but in a good way. I'd hang out with you. But I want to harken back to a situation not in Web3 that was very similar to this and about someone that we were just talking about. But I don't know if you guys know, but our boy John Smedley, the guy that we were just talking about, had a similar public blow up with some people on the internet. But instead of like KOLs, it was a bunch of hackers, and they ended up like calling bomb threats into his plane flights. And they like Daybreak Games, the company that owned H1Z1 and made H1Z1, they like pulled the game down for like a week, right? I actually think they didn't put the game down or put the game back up until like John stepped down as CEO of the company. And so all that to say,
Holy
I
shit.
think the dumbest thing that you can do in any sort of public-facing, consumer-facing goods endeavor is to talk shit to your customers. Like, doesn't matter what the setting is and what the reason is. There's just like there should be a rule written in like every executive's playbook that is like, no matter how upset you get, do not talk shit to your customers. Like, just like hard stop, because it just never ends well. It never ends well. It doesn't matter what industry, doesn't matter what product. If you're selling something to people and they've given you money for something, or they've given you their time, which is incredibly valuable, and they feel some kind of way about it, you know, feedback is a gift. Thank you. I'm so sorry we didn't make that better for you. Like that, those words are so much easier than fuck you. And now I'm in this horrible situation that I have to spend hours of my time on instead of, you know, orcs are green and have 12 hit points, which is what they should be thinking about.
Yeah, for every time that we see the Wendy's Twitter account like ratio somebody with some sick burn that all these founders imagine in their head being the case whenever they reply to something, there's like 1,000 instances where it just goes completely wrong and everybody thinks you're an extra dumbass for having replied. Kevin, I'm going to you, and then I do want to get a statement from Verted as well. Appreciate him joining. I know it's also late where he's at, so I want to make sure we get a chance for him to speak.
Oh my God, the Wendy's Twitter account, since you said that. Ghost, I don't know if this is real, but there's a laugh out loud version of that. Go search up nut allergy Wendy's tweet. And there will be a tweet that they had with somebody, and it was just absolutely hilarious. I laugh every time I read it. To this day, it is the funniest thing I've ever seen. The peanut emoji was the chef's kiss. Anyway, so I'm going to comment on the Revolving Games one because I'm not up on the Haunted Spaces one as much and don't want to just throw out opinion there. And this is an opinion piece. I'll lead by saying that. And I believe that if you pull up your D&D character sheet on you as a human, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and humility are the most underrated stats that you can have on those sheets. And sadly, we don't have a lot of high stats in Web3 on the character sheets of founders, and that makes me sad. And that is obvious when you see some of the slinging that was happening across the two individuals in the Revolving Games lucky trades thing. Like, it's just, man, there were both I think Grail put it pretty good. You know, it's like mistakes on both sides, and understandable and justifiable because it's emotional. There's lots of money at stake. There's sweat equity at stake. I poured my life into this. What the hell? So there, like, a lot of it is understandable, but it doesn't matter. Like Tony said, don't talk down to your customers, and that's not because the customer is always right. It's your brand and the reflection on your brand. When you have a meltdown and crash out publicly like that, as a founder, man, does that do some irreparable potentially damage unless you can walk it back. But if you double down or don't do that, like the harm that does is unbelievable. Like, I mean, you just hire someone else to do your comms or come out and be like, yeah, I lost it. I didn't realize I shouldn't have done that. You know, but the humility, the self-awareness, the emotional intelligence was sorely lacking on all fronts there. Can't say I don't understand why, but it's not a good look. I think both those guys could go do some dojo points to level up those particular skills.
We do have a comment from Zach, who's on the team at Revolving Games. I'm a big fan of Zach, by the way, for what it's worth, just to set the stage. One of my favorite people in the space for a very long time, and he's always acted very ethically, morally sound, etc. He says, real talk, though, y'all are speaking from Lucky's side with only seeing the text he wanted to share, not the full conversations. I think there may be some context lost. It's kind of like somebody buys a meal, ate the whole thing, and then didn't like the flavor and blames you for the bad flavor and then spits in your face and then asks for money back. What do you do? Totally fair. The one thing that I personally am stuck on is the fact that Amar said he would give him a refund. Like, you just don't have to do that. That's the part that I'm like, well, if I expected a refund for 6 months and then you told me I talked to my lawyers, go fuck yourself, that would upset me too personally. Like, I would be really fucking upset with that much money on the line. So you just don't say that. I think it was Tad had said, just talk to your lawyer first, right?
It also just goes to show that verbal agreements mean nothing. Keep that in mind, everybody.
Yeah, great point there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so
Tad's
that's
lawyer's
really
owed
the
me
only
like
piece that I
3D
personally.
for 2 years now. He's just never going to give it to me.
Well, with that said, let's move on to the other one. So, Haunted Space versus Verded. Verded, thanks for joining us, man. Any clarifying stuff that you want to add to this, or what's your takeaway after sort of seeing how crypto Twitter is interpreting it? I'm curious how you're thinking about everything.
Yo. Hopefully you can hear me. So, bro, fuck Haunted Space team. Honestly, bro, terrible PR move. Terrible team. I mean, it's only one guy doing everything. It's one guy DMing me. It's one guy posting this shit on Twitter. Like, bro, their founder is Italian. He's in Dubai now. Like, you gotta understand that. Bro just got the money and ran away with it. Like, sure. I made so much impressions. I got like 200 followers. Bro, good for me. But like, they had TGE in the week yesterday after my lawsuit post, but before they posted their thread, they DM'd me and said like, we're sorry, we didn't mean it. Like, we were supposed to TGE like this week because Black Hole launched, right? And then now we're in shambles and we can launch. Like, if a thread, I'm not even taking like the 15-year-old card, if a thread from any creator ruins your entire reputation, if it's not ZachXBT, like, shut up. You have no reputation to like lose. I don't know, bro. Like, they did scam a lot of people. I mean, I saw the replies. I don't know how true it is. People want money back. They didn't sign anything. So same shit as Revolving Games. People want money back. Haunted Space wasted them on trips to Dubai. I mean, I understand it, but like, where the fuck? Like, why am I the asshole for just pointing it out? And I mean, yeah, 15K in 3 hours. I'm just goated like that. Like, to be honest, being goated at writing threads is just like a given. It's a talent of mine. All I can say, bro.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you had a chance to hear Tad speak earlier. He was mostly emphasizing being specific about your language and making sure that if you use the word scam, that maybe that has additional implications that could result in things going poorly. But I more power to you. I think you're a fantastic writer. Whenever I found out you were 15, I was like, fuck, man, he writes better threads than I do. So I'm kind of upset about that. But otherwise, best of luck handling the situation, and appreciate you coming up and sharing your point of view. And hope that it doesn't have to come to legal action. It just like doesn't seem that severe from my point of view, but obviously you guys will sort it out in whatever way ends up being fitting. But appreciate you again, Verdin. Thanks for staying up late to talk with us. Our final boss of the day. This is the game mode where you have to say anything except for I agree with everybody else. You got to pick a side here and make sure that you really come in hot. In-game advertising is increasing over year, surging to 11 billion this year. Would you rather advertise directly in game? So let's say like a billboard in Grand Theft Auto 5 being an in-game advertisement, or spend on product placement in something like a Netflix show or a TV ad during an NBA game or whatever, assuming that the cost was equal and the numbers were somewhat equal. What would you prefer to spend your budget on? Is in-game advertising starting to take hold as a real legitimate way that you guys would want to spend your own marketing budgets? Let's go to Tony V, the king of marketing budgets, first.
Yeah, I've bought and sold a lot of this advertisement when I was at EA. We one of my first things is a partnership with FedEx and Gatorade. We delivered a bunch of free Xboxes to Madden players, and I forget what we did with Gatorade, but the impact of those in-game advertisements is pretty wild. Like the conversion is pretty high. When I was at Amazon on Twitch Prime, we found that the difference between having one of those in-game advertisements and not was like deal breaking. If we didn't have it, it literally made the economics of the deal not worth it. And if we did, we would go and get some meaningful percentage of that game's player base to come sign up for Amazon Prime in order to get the free fucking skin or whatever, right? And so my two data points, well, many data points at Amazon and a couple data points at EA lead me to believe that marketing is really three things. And Mark Tanjuko, one of my friends, told me this. It's not my quote, but it's really the channel, the message, and the offer are the three things that come together to determine whether or not your marketing is going to be successful. I think it's an incredibly powerful channel when paired with a direct response offer for a relevant product and a relevant message. I think that I don't think I've seen that be highly effective. And again, the Prime product is pretty orthogonal or not related to video games in general, and we were able to sell the shit out of that via in-game advertising.
Great example, Tony. Thoughtful as always, and there's also a famous example of like Chipotle being one of the first people to validate Roblox experiences as an advertising avenue. They did 24 hours. If you finish the Roblox experience, which just took like 8 minutes, you get a free Chipotle burrito. And I think they had like 500,000 people do it in the first like 6 hours. They used up all the coupons, whatever. Let's go over to I want to hear from Spang, and then let's go to Kevin Lambert.
God, following up the guy who's tried and tested this in the largest scenarios and with the most amount of data possible is going to be tough. But I'll try my best.
Easy task.
I think that what Tony's saying is exactly right. It's about how you pair these things up, because I feel like so often when you hear about in-game advertising and you hear like about the way that it's discussed and like, oh, billboards in GTA and all of that stuff, it has to be done with like strict purpose and strict call to actions, and in a way that is exactly as Tony was saying, calls the user to do something outside of the game and to go activate somewhere else. And I think that that's a really difficult line to walk. It can be walked, and I think that we've seen Fortnite and Roblox create these entire experiences, these entire games within games that revolve around the product. And I think it's about attaching that positive experience to the product. How can you create a character that does something cool and make me think as a gamer, oh, I want to be like that. I want to get a glimpse of that experience as I sip this Pepsi. And I think the easiest way to do that is show people things that they can get in game by buying that product. If I'm driving around in GTA and I can get a Pepsi skin on my car if I go and buy Pepsi, and I saw that on the billboard, that makes sense. The line is so clear. I mean, it's very similar to what it kind of reminds me of is like Twitch drops. Like those, like I don't watch Twitch, but if a game I'm playing has Twitch drops, I've got 3 different windows up on 3 different accounts running that stuff. And I think that's the way that people have to think about it, is like, how can we show these players the value that they can reap by coming to our platform.
Yeah, it's a great example. I love the analogy that you used there. Kevin, over to you.
I'm a little biased because my 10 years at Microsoft was all about in-game advertising, and it worked super well. But when you think about it, like TV product placement is like a viewing audience, right? Whereas in-game ads are reaching an audience that's doing things. They're playing, they're collaborating, they're competing. So if you're out there and you're trying to reach Gen Z and Alpha, like, would you rather be a soda can in the background of a Netflix show, or would you rather be a skin that players flex in a game like Fortnite? I think that it's obvious from my side. I would much rather be a game, even though there's a negative stigma and like, bro, really in-game advertising. You can do it badly, but you can also do it better. And if you do it better, it's immersive and it's got more value to me.
IC told me to end the space now because the GOAT has spoken. The episode can't get better. I appreciate that. We are going to finish up. I do need people's MVP votes, though, too. Let's go to OG, and then let's go to Jerry. OG has a ton of marketing experience. OG, actually, would you be willing to steel man the other side? Can you tell me why in-game advertising is actually bullshit and we should just be putting ads on TV instead?
Fuck off, Sam. It's like 2 a.m. I could try. I mean, yeah, guys, I'm a big bad marketer, and I don't think I should give you money to put my brand in your game because it's a waste of time. Because a lot of people do that, and it's saturated now. And I don't know how many times my brand is going to be seen on billboards in your stinky little game, and I don't even know how many people are going to play your game. And Travis Scott is paying a lot of money to have a concert in Fortnite, so how much money are you going to charge me? And yada yada yada. I do think it's definitely more immersive, but you look at all the things that go viral because you watch Netflix and you see a certain brand on a certain actor or actress, and you're like, oh, this is cool, and it becomes a trend. And there's still definitely some merit to spending my money on billboards, out of home ads just on the street, never being able to measure how many cars pass by on a daily basis. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna spend all my money there. But now that I'm done doing your thing, Sam, I was just gonna say I don't have much to add, but someone mentioned Pepsi somewhere, and I just wanted to say I have no recollection of when I played this or why I played this, but Pepsi Man was arguably one of the biggest reasons I always chose Pepsi over Coca-Cola, and it had nothing to do with the flavor, it had nothing to do with the taste. It was just purely because there was a stupid mascot dude that would scream, like, actually he wouldn't scream, people in the background would scream Pepsi Man, and then he just like start running through people's homes. So yeah, it's not always like slick marketing. Sometimes it's like really shitty games that are just from your memory, but it does have an impact and an everlasting effect, because to this day, like, I don't know, god, 22 23 years later, I still think of Pepsi Man and I'm like, oh, that was a cool game. I wish other brands did games like that. So yeah, those are my 2 cents. Hopefully I did you proud, Sam.
Yeah, it started a little slow, but you got there, and I appreciate the effort. 2 a.m. You're the man. Let's go over to Jerry. Then I want to hear from Koji. Jerry, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about maybe the opposite side of what Tony said. I mean, I agreed wholeheartedly with Tony, right? Like, if we're in the games world, you should be marketing and taking. Whoa, sorry, what was that about, Cora? My dog freaked out at me. Sorry about that. Yeah, so if you're in the games world, I mean, you want to target people that are already doing some of those things, right? Like, I think the problem that people look at with marketing, on like an NBA game, is that's like the leakiest bucket of all time, right? So if you're a game, like what was the game that just did that with like LeBron James ads? It was like Royal First or
Yeah, one of
Royal
the match
Kingdom or
3.
something.
It was a match 3 game that made Metric fuck ton of money, and then launched a second game and was like, oh, okay, now that we have a suite, we'll get 10 celebrities. They spent a lot of money.
Yeah, and their ROI on that was like horribly in the negative, right? So I think, if you're trying to do that, it's because you've kind of tapped the normal channels and you need to expand beyond. But like, that's a good problem to have, but it's not how you would like start the scaling process or anything like that. Like you can't start with the super leaky bucket. On the flip side of that, like the Steelman argument for doing something like that, or just going like the more normal means and not doing in game, is like, I think when we have these discussions, we're always assuming that we're in the position of the big brand. We're always assuming we're in the seat of like a Coca-Cola or something, where it's like, yeah, just fucking, or Travis Scott, yeah, go do the concert, right? But if Sam and I go start a t-shirt line tomorrow, going and doing something on a commercial is probably the worst thing we could do, right? Going and trying to get our fucking Sam and Jerry t-shirts into Fortnite is arguably not the best way. So, I think there's a time and place for everything, but if we're talking about getting games out there, you just want to get that as close to the gamer persona as possible.
Koji, and then to Dub. Koji. It's good.
Sorry, Sam. Technical difficulties. I forgot why I put my hand up. Whatever. All hail in-game ads. The only thing I probably wouldn't advertise is another game that people wouldn't be interested in, because they probably wouldn't let you. They don't want to lose their player base to your game, but so it wouldn't make sense for a lot of people on this panel to advertise in game. But other than that, my MVP is Jerry, because I don't know, he's always the MVP in my heart. I'm not sure who else really stood out there, but and Dub doesn't like it. So I'm gonna vote for him next week as well. You can chalk that one up next week, Jerry MVP, even if he doesn't show up.
Koji sounding half asleep. Camille Camille says Pepsi's better than Coke. Great take. I used to work at Pepsi, and they went hard on in-game advertising, Mountain Dew, Pepsi, Gatorade, etc. Shout out to that experience. Appreciate you chiming in. Let's go over to Sinjin, and then I front ran Dub. Let's go to Dub and then Sinjin. Sorry. Let's also get your MVP votes out of the way, guys. Dub, who's your MVP too?
Yeah, I got you. My MVP's OG because he's fucking OG. But I'm actually on the side of not the in-game advertising. At Decathlon, I ran through a budget of millions in advertising through normal advertising routes that have been tried and true for decades now, and that shit fucking worked, and it worked great. I think gaming advertisement is still too new and still too developing for random Joe Schmoes to get involved and to be able to find success. And that's where like these more established advertising funnels have been able to have growth, and that's the next stage of these advertisement funnels. And until we see that in the gaming advertisement world, I really don't feel like you can say that in-game advertisement is the better one. Obviously, we're all biased because we're games, but it's also hilarious because none of us can actually advertise our shit inside of in-game experiences. To Koji's point, he kind of front ran me too on that, and that was going to be my main staple here, is that like we couldn't go advertise shrapnel and COD and shit like that. It would have just never gone through, and it would never been allowed. And like it's not like people are going to leave an existing game experience to go check out another one. That's like the hardest bounce to make someone bounce. So yeah, that's why I lean really heavily towards the traditional game marketing or traditional marketing funnels, especially as a game marketer. Because we simply can't use our own marketing thing that's being spun up here. So, and to double down on OG being MVP, because I just love the guy.
A very rare, thoughtful, and beautiful take from Dub. Well done, brother. I love to see it. Sinjin, over to you.
Yeah, bring me on Tuesday, baby.
Yeah, my MVP is Vidar. Harden the fuck up, man. I've been doing this for a year and a half. I love having you on and your fucking takes. So come back soon. That's the motivation there. I think in-game advertising is fantastic again, but like if it's third-party collaborations, great brands, but like game to game, that's really hard. All the points that Dub made, and they're great points. I think where TV, or like it's not really TV now, like let's say streaming services really shine, is especially for Web3 trust. Imagine if your game was featured being played in a Netflix series, right? I think if it's about like trust or lifestyle brand marketing, I think it's fantastic. Go back to the Lady Gaga Poker Face video, and then you'll see the game that she's playing is Poker Stars. And in the company, that was super celebrated that we had managed to land that, because poker at that time, very early on, had a massive trust issue, right? It was not seen as a skill game. It was seen as a gambling game, and the legalities were very much against it back then. And, you know, if you can get placement there in a Netflix series, or even, you know, we talk about Web3 cross IP and stuff like that, and really have a banger Netflix series, and that is in fact totally advertisement for your game, then I think that's huge. I mean, for ourselves as well, we might be insane, and a lot of people will think that way. We set up you know, an 8,000 foot square facility in Bangkok for gaming, right? And we're not pushing our own game. We're sponsoring other, you know, games as a kind of esports sponsor for the amateur sector, and we put in about $500,000 US into it. Now, most people would say that's fucking nuts. Why not just use that $500,000 on influencers or so on and so forth? Because, you know, Web3 has an issue of trust specifically, and nothing builds trust than being with another brand that's, you know, you're just kind of there. Now, is that going to be great for user acquisition? No. Am I going to acquire, you know, 10,000 players from having a venue? No. But will I create trust and create a core user base? Absolutely. So, I mean, there's a time and a place for all different channels. You just got to know when to use them.
Damn, that's a banger, Sinjin. I had no idea that she was playing Poker Stars in the Poker Face music video. It was one of like the hottest songs of the 2010s. What a crazy anecdote. Let's go over to Tony V, then to the tatted lawyer. Tony, what are you taking here?
I'll keep it real short. But I Koji, Sinjin, Dub, you know I love you, but you guys are fucking crazy. Like, the idea of advertising games in other games is like what built the mobile games
Yeah.
market. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you guys
Like,
are
I don't know if
psychotic.
like anyone's talked to like anyone who's ever shipped a mobile game before, but they're not getting their
Yeah, that's
customers
mobile,
from
but
fucking
for
Netflix
PC, that's
guys,
different, bro. Yeah.
right? They're
No, seriously. Like, I get that for mobile, but not because mobiles have a lifespan, right? And they can use the extra revenue. But for PC game, right? FPS shooter, like advertising another FPS shooter, I don't think that happens, bro.
I feel like it's a boomer take. I feel like mobile's paved the way, and the proliferation.
Fuck mobile, you fucking wannabe
What do you mean,
gamers.
fuck mobile? It's like 80% of the revenue in the industry. It's crazy.
Fuck the revenue that way, you fucking sellouts.
It's fucking Vampire Attacks and Raid Shadow Legends all the way down, boys. That's all we got. Let's go over to the tatted lawyer. Which one you taking? Who's right here, Tony or Sinjin?
As much as I love you, Sinjin, Tony's absolutely correct. I mean, that's how I get introduced to new games all the time, is by an advertisement popping up in a game that I'm playing, you know, at the moment. And I'm like, oh,
You
let me go check
mobile
that out. That
wanker.
looks super cool. So I got to agree. Although I love you, Sinjin, I got to agree with Tony here. I will say I think it's very product dependent on what would be a better medium, and also what kind of demographic are you trying to reach. Because at the end of the day, you know, if you're above the age of 30, you're still probably living on social media. But if you're under the age of 30, your prime entertainment hours are in the game. So it really just depends on market segment. I will say for myself, I don't know if you guys remember that website Wish, which turned out to be like a super crazy Chinese stealing all of information application. But I didn't. I downloaded Wish because I saw it on the Lakers jersey, and I was like, "Oh, what's Wish? I wonder what this is." And then I was like, "Oh, it's on the Lakers jersey. This clearly isn't a scam." And I bought like a really nice piece of furniture for my wife, and it actually turned out to be great. Whereas everything else I bought was absolute shit. But besides the point, it really just depends on who you're marketing to. I do think the data just tells us that in-game marketing is way better than TV marketing, just from click-through rates, clicks per install. Everything, every single metric kind of goes towards in-game marketing, but also it has to be done, you know, well. Is it an immersive experience? Is it like a full dedicated experience to that product? It really just depends on how it's actually formed. If it's just a billboard, maybe I'd rather be on an NBA court, as long as it's like a playoff game and not like a, you know, Sacramento Kings on a January day. But there's a lot of depending factors. But I'm going to say definitively, in-game marketing is going to absolutely crush TV marketing or any other marketing as it moves forward, just because there's more gamers born every single day than there's not, and more people are spending majority of their time playing video games. So the clear winner here is in-game marketing, but time and place for traditional marketing, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, MVP, Kevin Lambert.
Nice. Yeah, the story behind Wish.com is crazy. Basically, they just fundraised all of the subsidization that they needed until they couldn't fundraise anymore and then imploded. Vidar, over to you. And we got 5 minutes left in the show. So as fast as possible while still keeping all of the pregnant pauses that you're known for.
Yeah, good. Wake the fuck up, everybody. Good. Now that I'm sick and I can still talk. First, everybody that's fucking talking about mobile revenue share, making money off fucking mobile games, I hate every single one of you. You guys look like you're fucking applying for a fucking marketing job, talking to some company about how you're going to increase their bottom line. Look, when gaming first happened, I know a lot of you maybe weren't even fucking alive at that point. When gaming first fucking started, it started as something fun. It's a communal activity. You get together to do things that you can't do in real life. Okay, you can monetize that, but once you start hyper financializing everything and hyper monetizing stuff, look at how Gen Z is now. They've never had their World of Warcraft moment. They've never had their even League of Legends moment because streaming started. So now we have all these streamers which are pushing money. They have Fortnite, they have Valorant. It's this, now all games are social ladders and monetized ladders. All of it. It's becoming really, really, really toxic. And the more you push the monetization and the more you try to squeeze as much money out of them and their mom's fucking credit cards, the more you make this space really fucking toxic and bad. So I'm going to go with Sinjin on this one and tell you you're all fucking retards and fuck mobile gaming. And for that reason, Sinjin is my MVP.
That's
Yeah,
right,
gaming wasn't
Vidar.
toxic 20
Old
years ago.
school, real bro.
I love how this topic has become split. Great job, guys. It's always the best. Way to treat the what do we even call this segment again? Way to treat the final boss like
Wankers versus real gamers.
Let's go to Spang and then to OG and then Lems will wrap us up.
All right, I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to give Tony the MVP and then completely disagree with him. Because I think that I like mobile revenue, yes, but the way that mobile marketing works is a complete cesspool. Like the way that you described at the start, you really had me in the first half, Tony. Like that kind of like critical, like engaging activation of players that you see and that is possible in these kind of call to action moments is what is the future. But what's happening on mobile is not that. What's happening mobile is, you know, precisely what Vidar and Sinjin have been referring to, is just this enslopification of absolutely everything, and it doesn't actually lead anywhere. It's just this cyclical circle jerk of advertising funds moving between all the different games that are all owned by the same people. It's horrendous. That is not in-game what in-game advertising should be. What in-game advertising should be is someone fighting a Domino's worker in one of the greatest games made in recent history. That's what in-game advertising should be, and we're heading there. We're getting there, and that I think is proof of why it's going to come through.
That's a fantastic differentiation. I think you nailed sort of the difference in approaches here. I think we can all agree if I download a game where barrels are rolling at me and zombies are attacking and I get new weapons or whatever, I download it, it's a fucking 4X game instead. I'm throwing my phone at the wall, and that's that. OG, over to you.
I'm so glad I'm in this group of people that equally hate mobile games. So happy to be here. I was gonna give it to Dub because I love you too, Dub. But I feel like you guys are overlooking the fact that we got a legal lesson from Mr. Tatted Lawyer here about, you know, contracts and verbal shit
Fuck
and
that
what you
suit.
can or can't. So purely just for that, because he educated me in like in like a 5-minute session. I'll give Tatted Lawyer my MVP. I love you, Dub, though.
Lems, over to you, bud.
All right, MVP is Will's for that last take because it was fucking banger. But I feel like this is just the next evolution. Like gaming is becoming more and more a part of everything, and in-game advertising is just inevitable. Like we were like product placement existed in movies and TV and shit pre-streaming, but it's like blown up in the last few years. And in that same way, gaming's taking over everyone's life. Like, we're going to just start seeing shit in games. It's like, I don't know, feels like boomer takes, like people had said, if we think this is not an inevitability when it's just taking up more and more mind share and attention. Like, yeah, in-game advertising is going to be big. Simple as.
I got 3 more people I need to hear their MVP takes. Tony, Kevin, Jerry, in that order. Tony, who's your MVP?
Got to be my boy Wills. You know, I love the heat coming back, even when he's wrong.
Great stuff. Kevin, who's your MVP?
I'm going to go with Tatted today. Some solid takes there.
And we are split on the MVP. Jerry, who you got?
I'm going Tony, because Tony gets how these things work. Tony has marketed many things to many people, and Tony, I have had 4 #1 games on the App Store. I think we get how this shit goes. These other guys are fucking losers.
Shut up, you fucking wanker.
All right, we got 2 for Wills, 2 for Tony, 2 for Tatted, and then a bunch of single votes. Very rare circumstance here on Gamify. I'm giving it to Wills. That's my MVP of the day. Wills, take your FaceTime, brother.
It's 1 a.m. I'm just happy to be here, guys. Honestly, I love all of you. I learn so much from you every week, and if I can retain some of this, I'll be better for it.
Hey, Spang, how do you feel about Haunted Spaces being on AVAX?
Look, all right. They're doing their own thing, and I haven't interacted with the team that much. This whole thing really saddened me. I'm sorry that you had the experience you did, Verted, but Haunted Space, it's a cool game, and I don't know. I feel like this is just crypto doing its thing. We get hyped up about things, and you know the wrong stuff comes to the forefront. If you haven't checked out Haunted Space, go check it out. Play around with it. It's a cool little space shooter. But hopefully, you know, they can bring things back around. But you know, if it were me, I would have advised against it. Is that what you wanted to hear, Jerry?
Yeah.
Yeah, sufficient. Shout out, Verted should be my MVP for being Italian mostly.
What a way to end it, folks. It's me, Sam, here, and thanks for everybody for tuning into Gamified.
You handled that beautifully well.
Nailed it. That's exactly how he sounds.
Go make your judgment of Haunted Space based on the merits of the game. People are allowed to be dumb on Twitter and still make good games. So let's
forgive
see,
me.
No, I love you, Wills. Great work today. And welcome to the chain where the frost fuels fire and gameplay meets glacier grade tech. It's Avalanche, the official chain of Gamified, and your gateway to the frostbitten frontier of fun with a $100 million AI fund, melting minds and alliances like with legends like Gunzilla Games, T1 Esports, solo leveling. This snowball effect is of next-gen gaming. Most chains promise potential. AVAX delivers payloads with Battle Pass rewards that reward. Wow, I did not write that well. Reality. Skill, time, and sweat, climb, earn, unlock NFTs, unlock AVAX tokens, then meet me at the next summit for the after party. I'll see you there. And gather round builders and believers. It's time to grant yourself a future worth playing. You've heard of skill trees, but Game 7 is growing a contribution forest. Summon isn't just a protocol, it's a passport to permanence. Your actions get anchored and your influence gets immortalized. Thank you to the official infrastructure of Gamified Game 7. And, of course, Farcade walked so Remix could run. No existential meltdown, just a shiny AI-powered studio that lets you build and launch a game faster than you could say, I swear this is the last coffee I'm having today, or I don't know how that hentai got on my laptop, babe. So open just open the AI studio and dream up something unhinged, launch it straight into social feeds, and go to remix.gg to learn more about the official game of Gamified. Amazing episode today, guys. Made me laugh a bunch. I appreciate that. Some really solid takes. And if you enjoyed today's show, share it with a friend, share it with a founder, or give us 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I would be eternally grateful. I'm going to go buy Jerry dinner and a beer, and hopefully he has better takes than he had on today's show. Love all you guys. We'll see you same time, same place next week. And tune into the Wall Street Bets thing. That's going to be weird, wacky, and wild. Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. So now Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. We're locked in. Big smooches.